Story 1. Always closed. A firefighter once told me to never sleep with your door open. He said that when responding to house fires, he had seen many situations where the people who had slept with their doors open had died, while everyone whose doors were closed had survived. Story 2. Closed. The percentage of preventable deaths by open doors is alarming. Truly. Smoke, heat, mosquitoes. I'm not dealing with any of that, let alone the werewolves. They can't turn a doorknob, so I'm not putting myself at risk. Story 3. Closed. Used to sleep with it open, but after waking up a few times with my kid's face this close to mine and scaring the ever-loving life out of me, now I close it. They still come in, but the door opening wakes me, which is much less of a heart attack. Story 4. Closed. We have a free roam bunny upstairs, and we like our phone charging cables and other bedroom electronics to stay intact. Also, waking up with a rabbit licking your elbow is weird. Story 5. I live alone and prefer to sleep with the window open. No one is here but me, but I love the ambient lights that I have dimmed in my hallway, like a little night light and better airflow. Story 6. I wish to all gods that lived, are living, and will come into being that I knew this answer. Sounds like such a simple question, right? Only two possible answers, right? Wrong. You see, my wife has a very complicated 400-page flowchart in her head that dictates how open the door should be. It somehow begins with the bedroom window. I have not come close to figuring out the formula, but I do know it somehow involves at least the following: temperature, humidity, wind, noise, aroma, and something to do with the temperature of her feet. What I do know is that sometimes it needs to be wide open, sometimes just slightly cracked, sometimes sealed and barricaded, but mostly somewhere in between. Somehow, based on this information, I should be able to calculate what percentage of the window should be opened at. From there, you would think it would be easy to calculate what percentage of the door should be opened as well. Nope. Honestly, I have no idea how I could have gone this long and not accidentally done it right once in my life. I have been unable to collect any relevant data to help me achieve any progress whatsoever. All I know is that 3 to 5 times daily, I will catch grief for closing or opening a door or window when clearly, it is obvious that I should have done the opposite. All I have learned is that whatever I think it needs to be at is horribly, horribly wrong. Now, keep in mind that I have only been married for 23 years, so I still have a lot to learn, but if anyone could help me figure out this formula, it would be greatly appreciated. Story 7. Closed. Partly because of the fire safety, partly for privacy, partly to keep the murderer out, and partly because I'm schizophrenic and sometimes hallucinate shapes or figures in the darkness, so open doorways in the dark can be a bit unnerving. Story 8. If it's open, it's because the cat was in the middle of Zoom eyes, and I didn't have the heart to close the door. If it's closed, it's because the cat is asleep on my pillow, and the air conditioner is on. Story 9. Open. My front door and my neighbors are right next to each other. With my bedroom door closed, I can't always tell if I'm hearing them coming home drunk or hearing someone breaking into my house, which has never happened. So, to ease my living alone anxiety, I just leave the door open for better awareness of my surroundings. Story 10. I used to sleep with the door closed, but now I leave it open along with the window. I learned that carbon dioxide can build up over the course of the night, which can have a negative impact on sleep quality. Story 11. Closed. That becomes a portal to the underworld once all the lights are off, especially in the hallway. The closet stays closed as well, ensuring no monsters can get through. Story 12. Closed. If there's a fire, it's safer, and in case of fire, home invasion, or any other disaster, I don't have to deal with our dogs running off into the dark, getting mixed up in stuff. Story 13. Closed. If somebody quietly breaks in through the front door, at least they'll probably wake me up opening the bedroom door. It's also more comforting in general to be in an enclosed room. Story 14. Text. Closed. You would be amazed at the difference it makes in a house fire. The outside of the room can barely be left, whereas the inside can look almost untouched, even if you have poor quality cardboard doors. I have been to enough house fires where the closed door likely saved someone's life that I will never sleep with the door open. Story 15. Closed because apparently that is safer in a fire. I preferred it open when my kids were little, but our house is small, and I can hear them when they whisper 4 rooms away because of mom power or something. And then my husband was insistent because of the fire safety. So every bedroom door is closed when sleeping. Story 16. I used to sleep with the door closed until I decided to let my senior cats sleep with me and left the door open a crack for them to come and go as they pleased. One of them died in December, so I leave the door open for the other one to get her pets and snuggles in before she goes to sleep in the hall, and only close it on the nights my back hurts or I need total darkness. Story 17. Close it so that I can do what I want to do alone. And also, it's more comfortable. When it's close, there might be someone sneaking into my room, and that's scary. Story 18. When I used to live with my parents and our family cat was still alive, I would sleep with the door slightly open so she could come in and cuddle, also known as sitting on my chest and purring in my face. After a little while, she would leave to do whatever else she did at night, and I would get up and close the door after her. It was a nice little nightly routine we had for a few years there. Story 19. Closed so that my dog doesn't escape and urinate somewhere in the house. Locking her in seems to prevent her from urinating in the room. She's 16, so the girl has an old bladder. Story 20. Doors closed because I don't want to sleep with one eye open. But if I get sleep paralysis, I will need to open the doors because I feel trapped with the demons. Story 21. Open. Only me, my partner, and our dog live in the apartment. The dog's bed is in another room, but he will sleep on the bed with us too. He would scratch at the door if we closed it. Story 22. Used to be closed my entire life because as a kid, open was simply not an option. Now I live alone and keep that door open every single night. I earned it. Story 23. Open when college students are home from school, so we can hear and verify they have returned home for the evening. Closed the rest of the year because of the old house, ghosts, and unidentifiable walking around noises in the attic. Story 24. I have a cat. It doesn't matter if the door is open or closed. I'm not sleeping anyway. If it is open, the cat is running around on the bed, generally being a menace. If the door is closed, the cat is screaming and scratching at the door to be opened. Story 25. All my doors are closed and locked at night. There are a few reasons for this. First, there's the chance of fire. If an intruder gets through the first door, having the others locked means I'm safer. Additionally, it keeps the boogeyman out, among other things. Story 26. Slightly open with a fan outside the door blowing fresh air in. It's closed enough to block light, but the fan circulates the air. I do not want high levels of carbon dioxide in my room while sleeping. Story 27. As a firefighter, I urge everyone to sleep with your bedroom door closed. Can literally save your life. There is a night and day difference between an open door versus a closed door for smoke conditions. Story 28. Closed and locked. I live with my parents, and I have a fear of my parents going through my room while I'm asleep. I'm not sure why since I have nothing to hide. Story 29. Closed. I very recently found a connection between sleeping badly and having the door open. I feel unsettled and anxious, and my thoughts go to dark places when I feel someone could just walk into my room. To this day, the only 2 people I can sleep next to are my partner and my sister. Story 30. As a firefighter, I suggest you sleep with your door closed. If a fire starts in the home in the middle of the night, you may never wake up to know about it. Story 31. Closed in case there's a fire elsewhere in the house. It's highly unlikely, but with the door being closed, it'll help keep the smoke out of the bedroom, giving me a better chance to get out of a window and not suffer from smoke inhalation. Story 32. Closed and locked every time. House fires are not something to mess around with, and the moment an alarm goes off, I'm climbing out of my window. Story 33. I sleep with my door open or closed. It doesn't really matter. I have 2 children that I have to sneak up on to see if they are in bed and asleep like they are supposed to be, or if they are using their phones and tablets. So, not having to open my door and give them an early warning makes it easier to sneak their door open and go, "Ha! Caught you!" and then see if they are actually doing anything wrong. If they are sleeping, they will sleep through it. Story 34. When I was living on my own, it was open so my dog could come and go as he pleased. Usually, he started the night in his bed in the living room and ended up in my bed. Now that I am back with my parents for a bit, I sleep with it closed with my dog in my room because otherwise the cats will bother him all night. Story 35. Open because we have cats, and we wouldn't get any sleep otherwise. They act like you've offended their ancestors if they can't get into an area behind a closed door. Of course, even with it open, we don't get any sleep because they just jump on us all night. Cats were my wife's idea. Story 36. In case of fire, it does a surprising amount to keep the fire out of the bedroom and buys you more time to escape. Also, leaving it open just feels so much more exposed, even if it's not quite latched. Story 37. Normally closed and locked, but I've had a lofted bedroom for the last 2 years with no door that's accessed by a metal spiral staircase. So, my obvious solution was to place a bottle of vegetable oil at the top of the stairs in case someone breaks in. Story 38. I sleep with the door closed in the summer. I have a cat that insists on hacking up hairballs at night on the bed. In the winter, when I heat with wood, he goes in a large dog crate until I get up. Story 39. I sleep with my door slightly open, so that my cats can come and go without waking me up, but only slightly open because I don't want to see the shadow people that live in the hallway. Story 40. Closed, it feels safer somehow. No bogeyman getting in without activating my squeaky hinges. Then I'll be ready for them. Plus, it is statistically safer in case of a house fire. Story 41. I hate to be seen asleep. It provides the security of hearing if someone is going to come in while giving me enough time to get out or find a place to hide. Story 42. Closed. I believe I read something indicating that if a fire starts and the door to a room is closed, you have a better chance of waking up and getting out or surviving. The door acts as a barrier to the fire,